Welcome to Coffee and Conversations for Men, a podcast where two men, Jay Guy,
Brian Jones,
sit down to share their stories of struggles, successes, and everything in between as they navigate the ups and downs of life.
Each episode will dive into topics men are curious about as it relates to their fitness, nutrition, relationships, mental health, and lifelong learning. If you're looking for real talk, honest discussions, and practical advice, you're in the right place.
So grab your coffee, sit back, and join us for some candid conversations that will inspire, motivate, and remind you that you are not alone on this journey. So let's get started.
Fellas, let's be real. Rejection and failure, they hit hard. Whether it's at the gym, in a relationship, your career, or even just trying to do better for yourself, that sting is real.
And most of us were never taught how to deal with it. We were just told to man up or to move on. But burying it doesn't make it go away. It builds shame, isolation, and silence.
In this episode of Coffee and Conversations for Men, we're breaking that silence. We'll talk about how rejection and failure show up across the 5 key areas of fitness, nutrition, mental health, relationships, and lifelong learning.
And this isn't about pretending that it doesn't hurt, because it does. It's about learning how to face it, grow through it, and come out on the other side stronger with tools and real stories and real brotherhood.
Because failing doesn't make you weak.
No.
Hiding from it does.
So grab your coffee and join us in this conversation.
Okay, Jay, so why are we doing this topic, turning failure into fuel and rejection into resets?
I think, for answering for myself, I think at some point, everyone, everywhere has had to hit a reset. Everybody in their life at some point has had to hit a reset because it's just not working. What you're doing is just not working.
Yeah.
And
you know, and guys that don't hit reset, they suffer in silence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and unfortunately,
and their world crumbles.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's too often. Too often, that's the case. You struggle along in silence because you feel like you don't have a space to talk, or as we say, to air it out.
Right.
And oftentimes it's done in silence. And then you know what this reminds me of, like Robin Williams or Chris Cornell or Chester Barrington, like those guys. And then everybody like, oh my God, I had no idea they were struggling. It's because they did it in silence, like you've just said.
But also the thousands and thousands of guys who aren't famous,
Good point.
Who took their lives because of rejection and failure internally, and it just became too powerful for them.
Yeah, and they didn't have an outlet.
No.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you there. And sadly, tragically, this is bigger than just an episode.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. Guys don't have a safe space to talk about this.
No, they don't. And unfortunately, there's no lifeline when you are dealing with this in silence.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's break the silence and get into it.
Let's get into this episode.
Okay, Jay, what's in your cup today for this coffee break?
Today for me is an oldie but a goodie. It's Dark Ridge from Grey Ridge Coffee from our friends out in Manitoba.
Good one.
Yeah. How about yourself?
Actually, this one's from Germany.
Okay.
We were in Germany not too long ago when we went into a cafe coffee place and had bags for coffee for sale. So I had to translate the bag to figure out exactly what was in it. Freierberg, Freierberg. Anyway.
Wow.
Coffee roastery.
Yeah.
And they've been in existence since 1883.
Wow.
And it's been a family business. T. Peter Coffee has stood for the finest coffees and teas in the world.
God.
So I'm really enjoying it. So I brought you a little bag sample so you can
Thank you,
try
sir.
it yourself.
I appreciate that. It's hard to say, but easy to drink.
I know.
Yeah, cheers. Cheers, everyone.
All right, our first pillar is fitness. And we know that failure is just part of physical growth. And rejection can be a motivator or it can be a destroyer, depending on your mindset. So what's your story here that you want to share that aligns with fitness and rejection and failure?
I have both. I have rejection and failure in my fitness story. And when I was a kid, I wanted to be an Olympian. Not just an Olympian. I wanted to be a middle distance runner.
Okay.
Middle distance to Olympian, to be specific. And so when I was a kid, there was this athletic high school in my area, where I grew up, in my area, that was known for its athletic sports teams and that kind of stuff. And I wanted to so badly to go to it. And the track coach from that high school came to my elementary school to meet with myself and my principal and my father. And, he said, we'd love to have you. If you could just get your grades up, blah, 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 blah. And I couldn't get my grades up. So I didn't go.
Mm-hmm.
And that failure of not going to that high school, that stuck with me for a long time. Yeah, that rejection, that failure of not being able to get my grades up and go, stuck with me for a long time, a good many years. And even though I didn't go to that high school, I still had a very, very successful high school track career, even though I didn't go. And I competed against a lot of those guys from that school, and bested most and all of them, even though I didn't go to that school. But it was that failure, it was that rejection of not getting there that stuck with me. Not the fact that I was already successful in my own school. That the rejection outweighed the success.
Stung.
Yeah, it stung too much. I couldn't see my own success because you know what I mean? So, but it definitely hit hard. It really did hit hard. And even though I didn't make it to that high school, I still wish I would have wore that jersey, of that high school, and said that accomplishment would have been there, or even going to the university that I really wanted to go to, that I didn't get a chance to go to, and it just didn't pan out. That sting of that rejection, of that failure, just stuck with me for so many years, so many years. And I still watch track meets, the Diamond Leagues, the NCAAs, the university meets. I still watch that, and I can smell the rubber of the track, and I can feel the energy of the stadium when I watch these track meets. I know what it's like to sit in those blocks and wait for the gun. I can feel, I can anticipate. I know what they're feeling in that starting block. But I can tell you, I would not change my life for that medal, for that stadium. My life is so much more than I could have ever imagined my track career ever panning out to be. Like, it would just pale in comparison to what I have.
Really?
Yeah, I would never trade it. Not for a minute. Not for a podium. Not for a medal. Not nothing. And it took me a long time to get over that track failure. Yeah. But
good.
Yeah, I miss it, but I would never trade it.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
Good.
What's your fitness story?
Well, there's a couple I want to share. One of them has to do with, I didn't make the traveling baseball team.
Okay.
After the second practice.
Okay.
And I was cut.
Yeah.
And it was devastating.
Yeah.
To to think that I just couldn't physically keep up with the other ones, and I realized that they had to make a team, and there's guys that get cut, and there's guys that they keep. And I was one of the cut. And that stung for sure. Another one was interesting. I played hockey for the first few years of house league, and I talked about that in an earlier episode. But there was this one game where the puck was passed to me, and I fell down. But when I got up, the puck was
still with you.
My
yeah.
stick. So I was going down the ice, and I realized that, oh my gosh, there's nobody in front of me. No. And I
had a breakaway.
So I did, and there was this hole in the net that around the goalie that I could get the puck into. So as I went up on the right, I shot it, and it scored. I did my happy dance. Oh my gosh, I was so delighted. And as I'm doing my happy dance, I realized that the goalie has the same color shirt on as I do.
Oh shit.
And I look around, and my teammates are going, No, what are you doing, Jones? And the coach over at the bench is just shaking his head, and his head goes down. And I had scored on my own net.
My God.
I was devastated.
Yeah.
Just devastated that this had happened. I went from this high
to
this immediate low that I had completely failed. I guess when I had fallen down, I got turned around.
Yeah,
and the next thing
obviously.
I was watching the stick and it went.
You didn't know what direction was what.
So I got it was a quiet ride home because I was just feeling, tears were coming down. And I it was my sister or my brother said, well, at least you got a goal. And that
goal's a goal, Brian. A goal's a goal.
Oh, fuck off, Jay. Oh, shit. I can't believe I said that.
All right,
you have to edit that out.
I will.
Because my mom listens to this, okay?
I'll do my best. I'll do my best. Oh God.
Yeah, you're making... anyway.
Oh,
so, yeah, just that physical energy, that adrenaline that I thought I could do it. And it just... And I had failed there. And I think about the number of guys and gals who try out for the fire department and fail their fitness test, and they're just devastated. But somehow they haven't made the connection that by not making it likely saved their life if they couldn't physically endure what was required of them to be on the job, to save a colleague, to save themselves, to look after their family. If they weren't physically fit and couldn't do all of those training items that are part of the fitness test.
Like the life-saving stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what, do you have a quote? Do you have some feedback for our listeners about rejection and failure in the fitness area? Yeah.
So circling it back to my story about, not panning out with the Olympic stadium running, being an Olympian. I think for me, it's a famous one. It's, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Sometimes it is. And sometimes it isn't your lawn.
Oh.
Yeah. Sometimes it isn't your lawn.
Yeah.
Get off that, like the guy says, get off my lawn.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not your lawn. So is the grass greener over there? Yeah. But you're not meant for that. Right. Sometimes what really is in your lawn, that's what's meant for you. And sometimes you got your eye set on something else that you're losing track of what's here. Yeah, that's my advice. And I know that from personal experience. Yeah. Stop looking over the fence.
Mine would be just build resiliency. If you're raising a child or a niece or a nephew, or you're a coach, or look for opportunities to help a child experience resiliency. So it could be playing checkers, playing chess, that it's okay to lose, and use that feedback to go forward and talk about, okay, so if we had done this, what can we do differently? Maybe you're not good with this sport, but maybe we could try this one to see what it's in, or give it a try. To see where it's in. It's interesting. Studies show that men who tie their self-worth to performance, especially physical experiences, they experience more shame and depression when injured or sidelined. So because they've tied it to their self-worth. Yeah, and that's kind of like their identity. Yeah, that makes sense.
And
we've seen that. And we'll put the research article in our call notes about that, because it's pretty powerful. If you're going to tie it to self-worth, then you're asking for trouble when things don't go your way.
Yeah, or you better be willing to and be prepared to learn that's part of the game. That failure is part of the game.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, Brian, moving on to our next pillar, nutrition. Where do you want to start there?
Well, I know now that nutrition goals often come with setbacks, and it's not about perfection, but consistency and learning. And I remember in a previous episode, I talked about how I weighed 50 pounds more than I actually weigh now. And a lot of that I thought had to do with physical fitness, but really it had to do more with nutrition for me. And when I failed, I was tying this whole body image and control in my life, trying to figure it out. And then the binging started, and I was falling out of routines, and that triggered self-criticism. And because I felt rejected internally, because my body didn't meet society's expectation of what a healthy body looks like. And I was imposing these self-imposed ideals, and I was going to comparing my body with other guys' body.
Okay, yeah.
And it just wasn't lining up. But I had to start educating myself about nutrition, because I know that there are some guys who will skip the fries and go to a large pop, which doesn't make it healthier. What I was doing is I was, swapping out, fat for sugars, and I got more calories.
Yeah.
I would say, no, I'm not going to have the cheeseburger. I'll have the chicken Caesar salad. But when I took a closer look at nutrition, the cheeseburger has 350 calories.
Right.
But the chicken Caesar salad with the dressing and the croutons, we're looking at 600 to 800 calories.
Right.
So I wasn't getting healthier.
Right.
I was putting different stuff in my body because I didn't know. I had convinced in my mind that this was healthier.
Right.
But it really wasn't healthy. And the bottom line was I thought I was eating healthy and losing weight, but I was failing dramatically because I didn't have the nutrition knowledge. So once I got the nutrition knowledge from some online, some books, from Lee Hayward, who we're going to be interviewing actually in the upcoming weeks, I started to rethink what I needed to put in my mouth and eat intentionally. Is it going to reach my goal? What can I do? What can I not do?
Right.
So that was key. What's your story?
So my story, actually, I have both rejection and failure. Again, in this segment, my story in the kitchen is so when you have story, when you have a child that is a healthy eater and has no problem finishing off a plate, every little scrap on their plate, and they just have food sometimes that they don't want to eat. They don't want to eat it, whether it's the smell of it, whether it's the texture of it, whether it's the taste of it, whether it's the taste of it in their mouth or the texture in their mouth. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's just turns you off. You can't do it. The texture, you just can't do it. Like for myself, mushrooms. I love to eat mushrooms. I hate the texture of them. So as long as it's in something and it's hidden, perfect. Perfect. But I hate the texture of it in my mouth. I don't like the smell of it either when it's cooking on a pan, like onions and mushrooms and blah, blah. Like it's got to be with garlic. It's got to be hidden. It's got to be with something, right? So anyhow, but when you have a kid who is a good eater and they don't want to eat something, and now they're forced to finish the plate. Now they're forced to eat that, finish that. You're in this stalemate of this game of who's going to break first. This game of wills of who's going to go first. Like, how long can I sit here? I don't have any responsibilities. I can sit here all night. I mean, homework, I don't even want to do it anyway. You know, I can be here all night. Like, I got nowhere to go. So you get into this battle of wills of who's going to eat and who's not, you know? And I feel like you're doing yourself as a parent, you're doing yourself a disservice to double down and force the kid to eat, force the kid to finish it. If they're a healthy eater and they just don't want to eat that, why are you making them eat that? Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to the kid. It just builds resentment and rejection to that food as an adult now. They're not going to touch it as an adult now because it's that emotional tie or that situation that brings that emotion to that food. And they're like, I'm not touching another blah, 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 because it reminds them of when they were a kid and they were forced to eat it. So I would say, don't do that. Don't force your kids to eat. If they're eating something and they say, nah, I don't want to have that. You know, it's okay to make them try it. No problem. There's no problem with making a kid try it or asking the kid to try it. But to sit there and force them, like, no, you're not leaving the table till that's gone. You're not doing yourself any favors as a parent. Yeah, because they're going to just reject that whole plate every single time.
Right.
Consistently. I can tell you that for a fact.
Yeah.
It's not going to end well for you or the kid because it will always be that way now. Yeah. 100%.
Wow.
Yeah. You have any research that would back that up?
There's actually a longitude study that just came out, and it's in the systematic review of perspectives. And it's interesting. It's all about the development of disordered eating in male adolescents, and if you look, and they followed these children into adolescence, into adulthood, of what they were actually eating.
Mm.
And then they looked at what was happening mentally and physically in their bodies, and it was amazing. There was a direct correlation that led to binge eating and depression and suicidal thoughts, and it was such a powerful article, and we'll put the link in the show notes.
Okay, yeah.
But I was surprised how healthy eating, once they had the knowledge, they turned their life around.
And I feel like, I feel like there's so many different things that come out of the kitchen, that come out of the plate, that if the child has a good eating habit, why are you hanging all up on one plate that the child doesn't want to eat?
Yeah, you're right. If you keep
it's
doing
not worth it.
And my quote is if you keep doing what you've always done, then you'll get what you've always got.
Yeah, 100%.
Until you change what you're doing.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like it's healthy for the child to say they don't want something, and I'll circle that back around to textures, or they get triggered by the way it tastes or feels, or or smells. That's okay. That should be enough. That should be okay to say, like, I don't like the way that I don't like the texture. I don't like that. Not to be forced to do it.
That's right.
And accept it for what it is. It's their thing.
Yeah.
They just don't want to eat it.
But peer pressure is huge. If you've got one child that says, I don't like that, then chances are the other child will agree.
Oh, God.
I don't like it either.
Yeah. Well, okay. All right. I'll give you that. Yeah, I'll give you that. Then you're into a whole nother ballgame.
A whole other can of worms.
Okay, Brian, moving on to our next pillar, relationships.
Well, rejection in love, friendship, or family can be just devastating for men, especially when the emotional expression is restricted. And fortunately for me, I've been blessed with a wonderful spouse who's extremely patient with me, despite me making some poor choices in my life. And fortunately, I've been blessed with two beautiful daughters who've been extremely kind and inclusive with me, despite putting my career ahead of being a dad at times, and that being the dad that they deserved growing up. But I can't change the past. Right. I'm working on and moving forward. And fortunately, I've been blessed with some incredible friends who support me and challenge me to be my best version, such as you.
Thank you, sir.
But I also have some friends who have ghosted me or are disconnected from me and have avoided contact. And I'm trying to figure that out, that feeling of rejection and what did I fail? What went wrong? So why do I feel like I've failed in some of those areas? And I think many men struggle with emotional literacy, leading to poor communication and avoidance rather than repair.
Before you go any further, can you just outline what is emotional literacy for me?
Well, what I can understand from the research, that some men have difficulty identifying, understanding, and expressing their emotions, and that's all lumped together as being emotional illiterate.
Okay, yeah.
So, and I think that stems from cultural and society conditioning, where boys are taught to suppress their feelings, like sadness or fear, or vulnerability, and instead, value that toughness, in control, that man up mentality. And I've seen guys who are in conflict or have some emotional discomfort, but what they do is they lack the tools or vocabulary to talk about their feelings. Now, I'm not talking like airy-fairy stuff or kumbaya shit. I'm talking by sincerely talking and addressing and sitting in how they're feeling about certain issues. Yeah. And instead of expressing hurt, regret, or confusion, they respond with anger, withdrawal, or silence, which is harmful. And we talked a little bit about that. I know that a friend of mine got the no email from the police force that yes, he did well on the test. However, we do not need your service. Thank you very much, or however it was worded. And he's a great guy. He would make an excellent officer. But I know he's feeling pretty shitty about that email that came in. He's put his whole heart and soul into preparing for it, and I'm sure he feels he's failed. But I also know this guy well enough that he's going to rise above and use this as motivation to go to the next job application. So even though there's rejection and failure, if you face it and use it as feedback and decide, okay, what can I do differently the next time? Or what do I need to do? Or who do I need to contact? Who do I need to be mentored by? And move forward, and using that as a stepping stone to move on. So what's your story?
So my example for this segment, I didn't experience a lot of rejection when I was a kid. I was pretty popular. I didn't have any trouble making friends, so I didn't experience the rejection of like, get out of here, we don't want you here, you can't play with us, blah blah blah. So I didn't have any rejection there when it came to making friends. I didn't have any rejection when it came to getting a girlfriend. I didn't have any. I didn't experience a lot of rejection there either. I didn't have any rejection when it came to sports teams either. And I'll tell you why. I never made the volleyball team because I never tried for the volleyball team. I didn't make the baseball team because I didn't try out for the baseball team or the hockey team.
Wow.
I never got cut from sports teams because I didn't try out for them. I was really good at track. That was my lane, and I stayed in it. So, like,
no team sports at all?
You're
so athletic.
I played baseball. Yeah, I mean, I played baseball, but it wasn't like rec baseball. It wasn't like a league, baseball league.
Yeah.
It was like a slow pitch,
but there
blah
was
blah
no
blah.
other teams in track or
no. Like I did competition karate, which is an individual sport, and track. I mean, the only real team I was on was a relay team.
And that's individual.
Yeah,
you're passing a baton to somebody
you're
else.
still running your own leg. Yeah.
Okay.
So I really had no team experience. I really didn't have any team experiences because like I didn't play those games. Like I said, I did the baseball thing, but that was like pickup game. I mean, I think my mom's work company had a baseball team, and we went out a few times, and I brought a few friends, but it was never a league where we played, serious stuff, right? So I never got caught. So I didn't have any rejection like that. When you say in your segment, when the kids are young, build that resilience. Well, I never did, because I had track and I was very good at it. So that was my lane, and I stayed in it, and I was very comfortable there. So maybe that's my point. I stayed in my comfort zone, and I never got out of it. So
to experience failure.
So yes, exactly.
Okay.
So later in life, I didn't know how to deal with failure because I hadn't built up that resilience, like you said in your segment. I didn't build resilience to failure as a kid. So when I had failure, I didn't know how to deal with it. Like, getting into your teens, and you're in a relationship that is going south. It's going nowhere really, and you don't know how to get out of it because it's a failed relationship. But the sting of the failure of that relationship, or the rejection of that it's not working out, you'd rather just stay and compromise, or stay and be mistreated because you don't want the rejection of going somewhere else, or you don't want the sting of the pain of a failed relationship. So you're willing to stay in that relationship even though it's going nowhere. So I really didn't have an idea what that, or how to deal with rejection. And so it was funny to hear you in your segment talk about the literacy, the emotional literacy of what it is to be rejected. So that was pretty fascinating for me to hear that. And I feel like my wife has always preached and promoted to me that I'm enough. And I've always been enough. Even when we were teenagers and dating, I've always been enough for her. Maybe not for me, but I've always been enough for her. And she's always promoted that to me. She's always been very clear that I don't have to cut the lawn to be enough. I don't have to cook breakfast every day to be enough. I don't have to change the gutters or the doors or the windows, or, I don't have to paint the house to be enough. There's no tool. There's nothing. There's no job that I can do that will make me enough. I've always been enough. And she's always promoted that to me. And so as a parent, I've always made sure my kids knew, just be enough for you. Just be enough for you, and everything will figure itself out. Everything else will figure itself out. Life is hard enough as it is. Be enough for you. Took me a long time to figure that out for me.
I can tell.
Yeah, and realize that for me. So
It's interesting what you say about feeling the pain of rejection,
mm,
and that's completely in line with what the research is saying.
mm,
In the article that came out a while ago about
Mhm.
why it hurts to be left out, and there's a direct correlation.
Mhm.
I'll back up. They
Okay.
did MRI scans and found that social rejection activates areas of the brain involved in affective component of the physical pain, which
Hmm.
happens in the dorsal anterior part of the cortex. So that suggests that the brain processes social and emotional pain the same,
Oh.
explaining why rejection can feel painful
Mhm.
in a very real neurological sense.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. And so that's why your body feels that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's not,
Absolutely.
you don't just think about it, your body feels it. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
And when men feel they must suppress emotional responses,
Mhm.
what it leads to is bottled frustration,
Mhm.
anger,
Yeah.
or isolation.
Yeah. And those come out in toxic, very toxic ways.
Yeah.
Very, very toxic
Oh,
ways
huge.
in relationships.
And it can be addiction.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I guess my advice would be is get some help if you're going down that road.
Mhm.
First of all,
Mhm.
if it's a therapist you need, go for it. Look for brotherhood. Now, our last episode is finding your tribe and allies is key. Finding
Mm.
people who can support you and challenge you and help you
Mhm.
along your journey,
Mhm.
and have that honest self dialogue.
Mhm.
That you know
Yeah.
what, it's okay.
Yeah.
How can I use this failure and rejection that I'm experiencing to move forward?
Mhm. Mm.
To use it as a stepping stone to make it work out.
Yeah, and like we said in our why, to be in it and grow in it and learn from it. And that's really key. And I had to do all those things. I had to be in it. I couldn't run from it anymore.
No.
I just couldn't. I had to learn my self-worth. I had to learn
Yeah.
self-love, self-compassion, blah, 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 all that stuff. And so there's a thing called ACT, so ACT. And it's through therapy. It's called ACT.
Okay.
And it's acceptance
Yes.
and commitment therapy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's a psychotherapy that helps individuals accept their thoughts and feelings rather than struggling to control, or here's the big one, or avoid, or avoid them. That when it comes to aligning with who they are, with their values, their morals. Yeah.
And if guys can understand the difference between guilt and shame,
Mhm.
and I used to interchange both of those terms, but when I realized that guilt is I made a mistake,
Yeah.
and that encourages you to change.
Mhm.
Shame is I am the mistake,
Mm.
which leads to a feeling of being stuck.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, which is where the reset comes in.
Yeah, you need to.
Yeah.
Turning failure into fuel and rejection into
resets. Yeah. Okay, Brian. We're moving on to mental health
For the second
For the
time,
second
take
time.
two, because
Oh,
the
yeah.
first time it didn't record.
Yeah, and that's turning failures into fuel.
Oh, that was such a good segment.
Oh, it was such a great
Okay.
segment. All right,
Okay,
see if we
you know
can
what?
capture that again.
It wasn't meant to be, right?
No,
We'll
exactly.
use that and move forward.
Yeah.
So rejection and failure strike deeply with a man's identity and self-concept, but they don't define him.
Right.
Now, for my story, it's receiving the no phone calls after a job interview.
Mhm.
So I have not been successful in all the jobs that I've applied for.
Yeah.
And you know, you go in and you're pumped. You give it your best shot. And you think, I crushed that. I nailed that. Yeah. And you just wait for the phone call. Wait for the phone call patiently. The phone rings. You pick up your phone, and then you're told you're the no candidate, and you're just like devastated.
Yeah.
But it all depends on how the person calling you structures their answer for you to be a no phone call.
Yeah.
If they just say, thanks for applying, we offer the candidate to somebody else. Thanks.
Yep.
Hang up.
Yep.
Then I start equating that to my self-worth, that I have failed. if they say, you know what, thanks for applying, we've offered it to another person, and they go over some things that I could do differently in the next interview, then I realize it's about performance and my skill level. And it's not about my self-worth that's there, my identity. And what a difference. And when the worst part is when the candidate, or when the person, the chair of the panel, sends you a letter that says, no, you're the no candidate. And it's a form letter that everybody who got the no phone call or the no letter is the candidate they didn't want, and they offered it to somebody else. Yeah. That's devastating to get that. Yeah. Worse was when I applied for a job and the chair of that panel didn't call me, but his admin assistant was given the task to call all the no candidates. So she doesn't even know me or part of the panel. And she's just saying, I'm just on behalf of so-and-so, just letting you know that he's offered the position to somebody else. So thank you for applying. Yeah. Like, what an idiot. Yeah. And so it taught me, I've interviewed hundreds of people in the job that I had before I retired, and I had to make those no phone calls. And I was very sensitive and very empathetic. And, thank you very much for applying for the job. We had over 100 resumes come in. We shortlisted the 7 people. Yeah. We've offered the job to a candidate based on their experience and their skill level. May I have your permission to pass over your name to a colleague who may have a job that fits your profile? And I'll follow through with that, obviously, for some of the candidates, and pass their name to somebody else. But I leave the person with their dignity intact. And it's not about their self-worth. It has everything to do with performance and skill level that I needed. I had a big jigsaw puzzle, and there's an empty spot that needs filling. Yeah. And I'm looking for a specific candidate to fill that spot. And if I fill it with the wrong person, then I have just sabotaged their career. Yeah. By thinking that they're the right candidate for this piece of the puzzle. Yeah. And when I describe this to candidates, they realize, thank you very much, because they don't want to be part of a puzzle that they're not fitting into. Yeah. So that's been really tough.
But getting that no phone call from the admin.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Exactly.
On behalf of
exactly.
That's crushing.
I know. Yeah. It is. And I'm trying to put myself in that admin assistant's shoes by saying, really? You're expecting me to call the no candidates to do your dirty work?
Yeah. And you get to call the yes candidate?
That's right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Can't I call the yes candidate?
Exactly. Yeah. So, and that really plays on a guy's mental health when they start attaching their self-worth to their failure.
Yeah, and that identity is wrapped up in that decision
huge,
of yes or no.
What about your story, Jay?
Well, we all have stories of rejection and failure to some capacity or another. Life can't all just be successes, one win after another. It just can't.
Right.
If there's somebody out there that has that, like, my hat's off to you. But it can't always just be moments of triumph and glory. Somewhere along the way, you're gonna have to have failures to have successes. That's just how it works, man. Right. All the greats, ask them. All the greats have it. So but that's what allows growth to happen. That's the failures is where the growth comes from, where the real change comes from, where the real lessons come from. Is those failures, is getting it wrong. That's where real growth comes from, which leads to success. Whether it's a breakthrough in your mental health journey, or a promotion at work, or you're successfully learning how to communicate in your relationship, or your kids are doing amazing in their life, and you're getting to experience that through them. Somewhere along the way, there's got to be that learned lesson of growth, that learned lesson of change, turning that failure into change. And a lot of the times we relive, and for our listeners, they can't see the air quotes, but we relive our failure story over and over and over again.
We do.
Sometimes you're reliving your failure story to unpack. So you're reliving it over and over. You're retelling your failure story over and over and again, because you're working through it. That's your way of working through it and unpacking and getting over it, right? And learning from it. Sometimes you're reliving your failure story because it's the exact moment when you had to pivot for change. So for some, they're retelling it over and over again because they're trying to learn from it, and eventually it will click. One of these times I'm going to retell that failure story and it's going to click for me, and I'll know what to do and I'll learn from it. For some, they tell it one time and they know exactly, they can pinpoint the exact moment of that failure and be like, I know where the change needs to take place. So if you're listening and you're retelling your failure story over and over again, whether it's yourself or your friends or out loud, where are you coming from? Is it coming because you're trying to unpack and eventually it will click for you? Or is it you're telling it because you're waiting for that moment of realization of, that's where the change needs to happen. Okay, I got it now. So holding on to a failure narrative is very damaging. Like you said in the last segment, where it will come out in a very toxic way, it will do the same for you. If you there's a failure narrative. If you hold on to that, it will crush your self-confidence. It will crush your self-compassion. Yeah. It will tear it all down. And then you're back to silence. You're back to self-sabotage. So you have to learn when it's time to pivot, you got to pivot. And my therapist will say, Jay, you need to learn how to learn and leave it behind.
Yeah.
Learn to learn from it and leave it behind.
Yeah.
So some things, some things just aren't meant for you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're along for somebody else's success journey.
Right. Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Sometimes you're along for somebody else's success journey and you're a part of it. And maybe you think it's for you, but it's not for you. Right. You're just a part of it. And sometimes somebody's along for your success journey and they don't even know it every bit as much as you don't know it for the next person. So sometimes you're just along for the ride, and that's okay because that's still rewarding. That's still a success that you get to put in your back pocket. Somebody else's success can be yours too.
And if guys are struggling with this, then I would recommend they go to Carol Dweck's work on growth mindset.
Okay, yeah.
Because that's pretty powerful when you start looking at using reflection as a tool for learning.
Okay. Can you put them in the show notes?
Yeah. Oh, I will.
Okay,
I will. And then, did you notice my shirt? What's it say?
Oh, I love it. Your past does not equal your future.
Yeah.
I love that.
And it reminded me of reminiscing about these memories that happened. And I got this shirt actually in Value Village after a therapist session.
Really?
I needed to go out and just do some shopping.
Nice.
And so it was pretty powerful.
That's a good score.
That's there.
Yeah, that's a good find.
Men with a growth mindset are more resilient to career-related failures and are more likely to try again.
Love that.
Yeah. And that is key, and then we'll put that in the
show notes. Yeah,
for sure.
Please do.
Good, powerful,
very powerful.
Jay, for our lifelong learning segment, how are you with skill testing questions, contests?
I don't know, dude. I don't do them.
Either do I. I see that. I'll fill it. I'll see a prize. I go, oh yeah, that'd be really cool. Yeah. And I'll fill out the app. My name, my address, and I'm reading all the fine print, and then it says, and winners will be contacted with a skill testing question. I go, oh my God, no way! I'm not doing that. And I have this fear of rejection and failure. And I'm not math phobic, but somehow that skill testing question that I'm going to be asked spontaneously over the phone is going to set me off. And I'm just going to blank out. And
is it the fear of being put on the spot?
Well, it could be, or just a failing of being rejected.
Okay,
and not, yeah, I know it's mine.
Or getting a question wrong?
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And I'm sure they have to do this for logistical reasons.
For sure.
To do it. But the quote that comes to mind for this segment is, failure is the tuition we pay for wisdom. Ooh, so when we have the opportunity to fail forward, so that we use the failure, we use the rejection to fuel us to go forward and decide what we're going to do next. And if I look at, there's hundreds of successful people out there who have experienced failure. So if I look at, Walt Disney, he was fired for lacking imagination. Disney was fired from his newspaper job for not being creative enough. If I look at Steve Jobs, he was ousted from his own company and forced out of Apple in I think it was 1985. The company he founded. And Michael Jordan cut from his high school basketball team and rejected for varsity as a sophomore. Thomas Edison, again, 1,000 failed prototypes, and he failed thousands of times before inventing a working light bulb. What's another example? Henry Ford. Henry Ford bankrupted multiple times in his early automobile ventures that just failed, and he went bankrupt. With that. It goes on and on and on. And the one that you can relate to, Richard Branson, dropped out of school in multiple failed businesses, and he struggled with dyslexia. And he dropped out, 16 times.
Wow, really?
Starting and failing. But look at all of those. They use that as fuel, as motivation to prove to themselves and to prove to the world that they can do it, that they can do it. And you can be a Walt Disney, you can be a Steve Jobs, you can be a Michael Jordan, a Henry Ford. Just don't give up.
Yeah.
Rise up, get back on the horse, pump out those resumes, make connections, read more, listen more, reach out and ask for feedback, from a mentor.
Yeah.
All of those things that I would highly recommend for guys who are facing rejection and failure.
Yeah, that was pretty powerful, man. I did not know that, all those stats about all of those failed. Walt Disney, come on, he wasn't creative enough.
No, I know.
Wow,
it was amazing.
I mean, most people know the Michael Jordan one.
Yeah,
that's the most popular one. Is that?
And I didn't realize even
Michael Jordan.
Sylvester Stallone was rejected by 1,000 different agents, and he was homeless and broke. But he refused to sell his Rocky script unless he starred in it.
Yeah, because he knew what he had.
He
just knew what he had in his guts. He just knew it.
Yeah. And there's thousands and thousands of guys who are not as famous as those that I just mentioned,
right,
that found the same thing.
Yeah. It's like you said in the other segment, that there's a lot of not famous people that go through the same stuff as celebrities do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, what about you? What's your lifelong learning?
Lifelong learning. So recently I was in a conversation with my family, and we were driving along, and my oldest said something that was just so powerful. And I asked her if I could use it in this show. And I just had to, because it just hit so deep. And what makes it powerful is the truth behind it in what she said. And she said, "Dad, I wish the world would normalize therapy." And she said, so that everyone could learn and understand how to regulate their emotions and navigate through their feelings properly. Properly is a key word. Properly. Therapy isn't just for people who have had trauma. It's for everyone. It's not just for people that have had bad things happen to them. You don't just go to therapy because you've had bad things happen to you. If people could even just have a few sessions with a therapist, they could learn life-changing skills that would help them in moments of distress, in moments of rejection, in moments of failure, and they would learn how to regulate their emotions when they come up against frustration, anxiety, It would help them regulate and navigate through life without imploding or exploding.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God, kid, can I please use that? That was so powerful. And there was so much truth behind that. I wish it was so much more normalized. And that's exactly what you and I are trying to do with this podcast. Mm-hmm. We are trying to normalize talking about stuff. This show isn't just about failure.
No.
This podcast isn't about just failure. We share our successes, our struggles, our stories. We share it all here, not just our successes. Oh, hey, look at it. We got our shit together, blah, blah, blah. It's not that kind of show. We're encouraging people to talk about all of the stuff, the good, the bad, and the ugly, all of it. And if people would just normalize therapy, like she said, you would benefit from it. It would help you be a better dad. It would help you be a better partner. It would help you be a better neighbor. It would help you be a better person, a better coworker, because you would be equipped with tools to learn how to navigate through your day-to-day stuff. And it's really just day-to-day stuff that we don't know how to navigate through.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, kid, you got it. You absolutely nailed it.
She does.
Yeah.
I think vulnerability is our superpower.
Yeah.
I think so. Because what we've been talking about and opening up about to each other on air and off air is telling me that, oh my God, this is powerful stuff.
Yeah. And honestly, before you and I started this podcast, I was going down a very dark and self-sabotaging path. And if I would have given into my failures, my relationship failures, my work failures, my self-sabotage, all of that stuff, everything today would look different for me. This podcast, for instance, may or may not be what it is, may not even exist if I would have given into those failures. So never give up. Failure is always, and I will repeat that, always temporary. But learning from it lasts a lifetime.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
You know, we've covered so much in this past hour. If our listeners, if someone's coming to mind for them to forward this link onto, please do it.
Yeah, please do.
It could be a brother, could be a brother-in-law, could be your son, could
Uncle,
be your next door neighbor, your
nephew,
uncle, a colleague. If you could do that, and we're not looking to to get more fans, followers. That is not our. We just want guys to realize that this is a safe space. That we're trying to normalize these feelings. To be it's okay to talk about
and
it.
Struggling in silence isn't necessary.
No,
it's just not necessary.
No,
make
a difference.
Make a difference. And so if you can introduce someone to an individual that's able to allow somebody to talk, to share, and not walk alone.
That's right.
You've
and
made
not judge.
And not judge. You have made an individual impact in somebody's lifelong journey. Share this. And that wraps up today's episode of Coffee and Conversations for Men. Thanks for spending time with us. We truly appreciate it.
Be sure to check out the show notes for resources, links, and everything we covered today. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode.
And if you've enjoyed this conversation, share it with a friend or leave us a review. We'd love to hear your thoughts. You can also follow us on Instagram at Coffee and Conversations for Men. That's 4, as in the number 4.
Got a topic you'd like us to explore? Reach out and let us know. Just a quick reminder, we're not therapists, counselors, or licensed professionals, just 2 longtime friends sharing real stories and lessons from our own lives.
So if you're facing challenges with your health, mental well-being, or relationships, we encourage you to seek guidance from qualified professionals.
We hope our conversation sparked reflection, encouraged growth, and helped you feel more connected.
Until next time, this is Jay and Brian reminding you to grab your coffee
or your favorite drink
and keep the conversation going. So stay strong,
stay curious,
and stay connected.